All right. So the idea behind this is that soccer is a very fluid game. There's really no stops to the game. It flows consistently. And in order for you as a young player to understand what's actually going on, the value of this document is to try to simplify some of that complexity as it relates to the game movement and how we should move. So I've been able to watch all four teams play. And from the principles that I think of, technical is where you'll work with the coaches and also at home on your own. Mentality grows as you become technically sound. Mentality also grows as you become soccer intelligent. So this portion is the soccer intelligence aspect of what we are trying to do as a 9v9 team, right? So your coaches will all play depending on the types of players that they have and the systems that they use. But overall, speaking about the principles of what we have here, I want you guys to sort of take this and don't just, I'll explain this, but digest it. Once you actually play a game, come back, think about what happened in that game in situations where you were confused of what to do or where you were panicking, and then reference this document as a way of putting patterns to the game. If you get to a higher level and you train at an elite academy, what's going to happen is that the coach has to do something like this in order for the entire team to play on the same wavelength. And as a unit, even if the other team is a 10 and you're a 7, you can still stymie them and create opportunities for you to win. So the idea behind this is to think through what you have to do, right? And I'll caveat this. 90% of the time, this is what you should think of. The remaining 10% of the time are things that make you unique as a player. If I'm telling you, hey, typically this is where you go, but you see another option and you're processing it in the game, by all means, I will never, and none of the coaches should ever get mad at you for trying something. They will get mad at you, however, if the logic of or if the principles of that play required you to do something completely different, right? As a team, like if the team was going north and you started going south, that's not good. But if you're both going north and you decide to go north in a different way, then we're good to go. Having said that, let's jump into what we are. So this is a 9v9 group, right? This is my document, and this is a tactical board that I have on this side that allows me to kind of move pieces around to show you how things go. Generally speaking, how we play in the back is either with 2 or 3. My team and Tony and Kai's team, I think we best play in this sort of formation. So if we look at it from this perspective, when I bring a soccer ball up here, every single situation, if we spread this out, right? If we spread this out, there's always 4 options. If I did this, here's 1, 2, 3, 4. If I do this, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I put the ball here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and same in this sort of format. Why is that important? The principle is always this way. If you have one additional man to another person, to the other team, then there's always a pass option for you to escape. And this is why the movement is extremely important. So most of the time, what I've seen thus far is that when you are playing, most of the time as a young player, once the ball's away from you, you stop moving. You can't do that. You got to understand what your positioning is and why you're there. Even if the ball was up here with, let's say, a forward, right? The movement of the back line needs to shift to stay compact. And we'll go through all that. But let's take a step back, right? Why do we do this? The most important part of our team is this triangle right here. Depending on how this triangle moves, you will have the 4-man advantage, right? So it's extremely important how the defensive mid, center mid, and the center mids move. And we can reverse this pyramid if we play against a team that requires us to have 2 or a stronger back. But the key here, like I was mentioning to you, is how we outnumber teams in any position that the ball is typically in. So the ball, so let's go to this. Let's go to each position and see where you're supposed to move, because I see players running everywhere. And this is not what we want, because the game of soccer is about transition. When you transition and you're moving, it's not like basketball where it's a fast break every time you're scoring. In your minds, every single one of you think every single time I get the ball, I have to go forward and I have to score. The reality is, every time you go forward, what happens is the other team compresses. They see that you're coming close to them and they compress. And as they compress, you need to let them relax that compression, spread back out so that you can then attack again to find those holes. If you keep on attacking, guess what? They're all going to bunch up, right? So let's think about positioning first. As a forward, the key areas that you're going to be in is this yellow area. You'll be moving anywhere in this space. You typically don't come back, and I say 90% of the time, because there will be times where you're the guy that's there and you can chase someone down and you will be in this area. But generally speaking, you are in this space, this yellow space, not this orange circle, this yellow space or ellipsis. This yellow space is where you roam. The key area for a forward is where? Lasai, for example, because I see you running back out here, you're running back, you're all the way back here. No, you stay in the top portion and you are the outlet. Your job, if I had a job description, is to score goals and create and release pressure on offense, right? Because once it's up there, the pressure is released, they're compressing on you, the whole team gets to shift up. If you are playing defense, then this role is the very first defender. You're either pressing or not, right? If the whole team is pressing, then you press. Otherwise, we fall back into formation. So from a, I guess from a positional standpoint, this is what is intended to describe how forwards move. Center mid. Center mid is extremely important. You are considered pretty much a box-to-box player, generally speaking, right? What does that mean? You're covering from one 18-yard box or 18 goal area to the other. And the main place at center mid has to be is this orange circle, because you'll see later on in this document, it'll tell you the teams that dominate a game will dominate this area, right? So yellow is the area you cover 90% of the time, which you can sometimes be back in this area, but most of the time you're in this yellow area. And when you need to control an area, the main focus is this orange, okay? And what's your job description? You link the offense and the defense, and you release pressure on the defensive side while being the creative anchor on the offensive side. So this is someone like that plays in the two roles up here, in this role and this role, right? Defensive, probably the most important player on our team, because they dictate the rhythm of how we move as a team. It's extremely important for this player to talk. So this player right here, which on Coach Kai's team is Micah or Maxwell, potentially some, and we'll figure out, because you're supposed to understand your preferred and secondary positions. But this player is a communicator and dictates whether or not we shift up as a team or shift back as a team. And they need to be able to kind of, when we get to a later point where we become more gelled as a team, they'll determine if there's a press. They'll determine if we're attacking on one side or not, because their distribution is key. This role is key. But the main thing about this role right here is you have to be a ball winner. You have to be a ball winner, meaning in the transition, you're stopping the progression of the other team so your teams can come back, right? And you can look here. You're not pushing all the way up to the forward line. Why? Because the creative center mid is there, but the creative center mid can definitely come back to assist you back here because of the pressure. if we don't score on an opportunity, it's much less of a risk than if we let a goal in, right? That's why they overlap a little bit. Let's go on to the wing. The wing here depends on how we play as a team. On defense, remember what I say, we divide the field in thirds and we play on 2/3 of it. So as a winger, you're extremely important from an offensive standpoint, because the best way to progress is down the line in the flanks, right? You don't really go more than halfway across the field. If there's nobody on this side and you can compress on defense, then yes, go for it. But otherwise, the idea here is that you are going to I'm going to mute everybody so we can go on. All right. Right. Your job is to hold and progress the offensive movement down here, because you'll see in a couple pages later that this is the area that you can attack the quickest, and you compress on the inside. That's why you're able to move this far in based on how the other team is moving. So why is that important? We play in 2/3, and you'll see that a little later, right? Defenders, for the most part, this is what you're gonna cover. You're actually, because we're only playing with a 2-man back, you're gonna have to overlap onto the other side, right? And from an attacking standpoint, later on, when we do an overlapping or a wing back, you're going to come all the way up and potentially be here where the wingers switch. But I want you to understand that this is your area of focus. So you need to understand what you have to own. This orange area is key. If the ball is in that area, it's your job, right? And you help out in any other of this yellow area, you tend to stay outside or stay within the yellow area and not go into the green. You tend to. Let's say, here's the goalkeeper. And I did this for a reason, because all our goalkeepers literally stand, for most of it, they stand in the goal. They're literally here. And they stay here the whole time, even when the team goes up. No, you actually can move. If the ball is all the way up and like, let's say all these players right here move forward, right? They're all moving forward because the game has progressed up here. Why are you sitting back in the goal? You should actually move up to here. You want to try to stay as close as possible. Why? Because if they lose the ball and the guy kicks it beyond our defender and they're both chasing, you're going to get to the ball fastest to kick it out or to clear it, right? If you're sitting in the goal and you're giving the offensive guy a chance to come at you one-on-one, it's going to kill you. There's a defensive sort of view, I believe, later on that shows you, as you close in and close the distance, the angles that they have to score the goal is less. If you're sitting in the goal, you're giving them literally the entire angle, which is a lot of space for you to cover. So that is something to consider. So what's this? If we actually took all the orange spaces that I showed you in these areas and overlapped them, look at how the center is always darker, right? Why? Because that's the main area we have to protect. When you shift out, and when it's very easy for a coach to look and say, hey, the game and the field is not balanced. Why? Because you see everybody on the fringe of the field. It'll be like this. Let me show you what it looks like. Let's say when you guys don't talk, this is what I've seen our teams play. The two defenders are way far apart. This guy is being pressed on this side. Let's say he's out here. It just looks like there's this big old gap right here, right? It just looks like there's this big old gap in the middle. You never want that. You always want bodies in the middle. We should always outman the other team in the middle, right? And so going back to this is the concept that you all need to understand. This sort of summarizes everything that we talked about above. The reason why you need to understand your position is because this is how, if I cut the field off here, this is our defensive and this is our offensive. The most dangerous, and I know there's breakout lines. I didn't remove those from the the 7-a-side. Whenever a ball is in this area, right here, the danger area, you are hyper focused. You are hyper focused. The problem with most of the boys that I've seen play is it doesn't matter if the ball is up here, or back here. You guys act like it's the same thing. You can't. You can't. 90% of all goals scored in soccer is scored in this danger area. They don't shoot from out here. They don't score from the corner. They score right in front of your goal, right here. This is the area where every single goal is. So as a team, let's say the other team is Argentina, and we're a bunch of 13-year-olds. And the only way we play against Messi, you know what I would do as a coach? Every single one of you would sit in this area. I would stay so compressed here that, yeah, go ahead, shoot from outside. We need to understand that as a team, as a defender. So when you're looking at it from that perspective, that's why when defenders are this far apart, right? When you guys are this far apart, right here, I always yell at you. I always go, hey, get compressed. Why? Watch what happens when you get compressed. If you stay like this, where are you guarding? If you look at this picture and you look at this picture, you're guarding the danger area, right? I don't care if a ball comes down here and a winger, whoops, sorry, here, and a winger gets the ball here, right? I don't care because I want him to shoot from here. Go ahead, shoot. Your keeper, Nathan, Andre, and whoever else is Isaac, you guys are able to save this ball. The difference between a shot from here and a shot from here is very different. Look at the angle that he has here, right? If I drew a line, look at the space that he has versus, let me go back down here, and let's say he tries to shoot from here. Look at the angle that he has to shoot from here. Oops, sorry. Do you see the space that he has to cover versus covering there? It's very, and you have to understand these concepts. You can't play this game and be good if you're thinking about every single possibility when the ball's at your feet or the ball's moving. By the time you process all that, it's too late. The play has already shifted. So you need to understand these concepts. And I'm going to stay on this page a little longer because I think the value is great here. Whenever the team, we make a stand as a team right here. We don't fall back in here. We stop them here. We stop them at our 18. We try our hardest to stop them at the 18. And if they are out here, they're not as dangerous. But if they're in here, we need to be hyper focused. If they get into the yellow area, you elevate that level. But if it's danger area, you're at a top concentration. The only thing you want is to bring players back in, stop the ball, stop them from progressing, stop them from getting a shot, right? If it's out here and you slack off, you're not hurting anybody. But if you're in this area and you're slacking off, it's dangerous. And as a defender, coming back over here, right? I'm going to remove all these lines. As a defender, if they shift in there, that's easy. One guy goes, right? Shifts. The other guy is here. You're protecting the middle. Does that make sense? Good. Now, here's the second concept. Teams that control the central area will dominate the game. Let's go back up here. What is this central area? It's here. It's the darkest area with all the overlaps, right? What does that mean? I always want us to outnumber the other team when we are in this space. Always. If they have 3, we have 4. If they have 4, we have 5. That's the way we should always be. So if you're a center mid or a defensive mid or a winger, and you notice that that area is not covered, you got to talk. Don't let coaches yell. You got to recognize, hey, look, we're off balance. Get back in your position. Don't get pulled outside. The ball, if it's out here, isn't dangerous. But if it gets back in here to somebody, let's say we get back in here and we're not outnumbered because we're chasing the ball. This is how, like 8-year-olds play, and you guys aren't it, right? This is how we play as 8-year-olds. They all run into this area, right? They all run into this area and they forget that there's someone in here. If this guy somehow gets the ball through here, it's a one-on-one. We didn't outnumber him, right? Now it's a one-on-one. We are at a disadvantage. You got to stay where you are. So the shifting, there is no player in this league that can take 3 players on that I've seen, right? Maybe there is, but they're rare. So we should at most have 2 players out. So if number 1 has it, right wing, maybe this player comes out, center mid stays back, you keep the middle. You keep the middle. The middle is kept, right? We want to be somewhat like this. There's someone in the middle. This guy's not standing over here at this point. He's here. Look at the number. We always have to do that. Micah, August, guys that play in the center defensive mid, you need to talk. I don't need you to engage as much. If there's a fast break, yes, definitely engage. I need you to control your team because the guys in front of you aren't seeing some of these things. Hey, you go, I come back, I stay in the center. Hey, you press. Hey, there's 2 guys already. Move in, cover for him. Or winger, let's say he gets beat. This happens a lot. And winger's chasing. And the defense, instead of running back into cover, is chasing too. You don't need it. Out here is not dangerous. It's in here that's dangerous. So what do? If wingers chase and you just got beat, you book your tail back in here, right? You cover behind. So here's the concept. So that's the second. We always have more players here. Now, on offense, where is it the easiest to advance the ball? And you guys should all know this because it says it right here. Offensive, easiest area to advance are the flanks. And on defense, why? Because I'll give the other team the ability to move forward on the wing because I want to cover the middle. And if the other team is smart, they'll do the exact same thing. So this is where the wingers come. If you think about this, let's say this guy's a defender. This guy's also a defender. And our left wing here has the ball. If he's smart, let's say, right? And here's the other thing. We don't want our forwards running into the space right here. What are you doing out here? You're not going to score unless you did a switch like this, right? I'd rather you stay more central. Find the gap. Force this other defender to stay central. So now it's a one-on-one. Do you understand that? So here, as you're progressing with the ball, guess what he's going to do? He's going to take this angle. Why? Because the angle is between the ball and the goal, which is exactly how our defender should play. You should always be between the ball and the goal, which gives this guy what? Which gives our defender here the opportunity to dribble like this. Is there anybody in front of him? No. There is no, I don't know why a lot of our wingers, they want to take this guy here. Why? There's a track right here. There's literally nobody in front of you here. Look at this line. Right? Look at that line. It's a track meet and there's nobody here. So why are you trying to take him here? If it's all crowded on here, literally dribble straight down the field. And then you're crossing at this point, right? So that's why, and if we if I set up the other team, let's say I set up the other team, here's their keeper, here's their defensive mids, let's say, offensive guys, other winger right here. They have another forward. If they were shifting properly, they'll look like this. Do you want to dribble into this? Or do you want to dribble into where there's nobody? It's very simple. You want to go where there's nobody. And then if you're faster than them, you can go around them to go towards goal. But this is the easiest route. I played with a guy on the Galaxy that most people know, Kobe Jones. And Kobe Jones has no moves. He literally can't dribble you. He'll do step overs, but they're not even meant to. He's just doing it to look cool. And then he pushes the ball down the line in this yellow flow and he just runs because he's so much faster than everybody else. And guess what he does? He goes all the way down here and he just hits it across, looking for this area, which I'm going to talk about, this biggest threat area, in a little bit. So you can look like a world beater as a winger by just taking that route. Gavin, super fast, or even Oscar, right? On our team. Why try to beat this guy? Push it, use your body, run, cut back, hit that cross. All you need to do is get by him or even with him and hit that early cross. You can make a career out of that. Eddie Lewis, who played with me on NHB, went on to play over in Swansea, over in the Premiership. That's all he did. He would get even with the defender and swing it early. And he made the Premiership by just doing that. So please, easiest area to advance is here. So why is that also important for the center mids? When you have an opportunity to spring your wingers, you can advance the game so much faster. Okay. Two more things and we're done. Because we're going to play some very good teams this weekend. Defensive structure. Please, please, please stay close. Stay close. If this block here moves, right? If this block here stays, and I'm just going to randomly do this real fast. Here. If you just stay tight on defense, you will always, and if we divide the field up into thirds, right? If we divide the fields up into thirds, because I think this is very important. A lot of our teams that play in the Culver, the Tony's team and Sebastian's team, you guys are giving goals away for free. You are giving goals away for free because you don't keep this pattern. The teams that you play against there have been playing together. Guess where they score? They only score here. So if you divide this field up into thirds, right? Into thirds, and the ball is on this side, let's say, whoever did that, do not do that. So if this is where the ball is, look at how we play. Please remember this because this is the mistake that's killing you guys. The reason you're losing 6 to 10-0 is because of this. It's not because the other team is so great. It's because you guys aren't thinking about this and doing this. If the ball is here and this is what they'll look like. This is what they all look like. They sometimes play with 3, but we'll just do this for now. Let's just make them 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's just do this. If they're here and this guy's here, our team, if we divide the field up, this is 1/3. This is the second third. Oops, and this is 3, right? If we did that, this is how we'd look. And this will be the last thing, and then we can stop this, and we'll talk more next time. Look at, I even moved the, right? This is how we should be. This is exactly how our team should look. Why? How many players do they have in the middle? 1, 2, 3. We have one potentially, if I move this guy back, but let's just say he's out there. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have one in the back. This guy's here. This guy's compressed up. We're outnumbering them in this area, 3-2, right? It should be this somewhat, 2-1, right? So we have the numbers already. There is nobody in this league that I've seen or any of the leagues at this age that hit a ball all the way into this space. So why do you even care about this guy? The only way they're going to get that ball is this. This guy passes it here, which we would have shifted, right? Let's say we were here. Let's say this is where we were, and they passed it here. You shift the team shifts here, the team shifts here, the team shifts here. This guy comes in, compresses. This guy comes, steps up. We're compressed, right? We're compressed. We're still outnumbering the middle. They swing it all the way. Let's say he's a magical player. He swings it here. This guy runs onto it. Guess what? You're coming here. This guy's dropping immediately here. This guy's shifting here. This guy's coming to help. Right wing is chasing his butt back. He's not watching. And this is what I want. If it's in your area and you're not in position, you book your butt back and you're covering, right? Look at what we do. We shift. We shift. We press back in the middle. We should always play on only 2/3. Our whole team should be in 1-2 or 1-2. And if it's in the middle, you're compressing in the middle. This is exactly what this shape is right here, right? The principle of our team's defensive structure will be to stay compact and move as a unit in relations to the opponent. Numerical advantage always. We always have numbers. We always have numbers. If you're standing over here watching the daisies in the grass grow, don't be surprised if coach is going to say, hey, come in the middle. And if you do it too many times because you're not paying attention, you're going to be sitting on the bench. Because there's no way your team is getting hurt because you didn't do your job. Right? Understand this. And we're what page are we on? I don't even know what page, but we stop here, defensive structure. You need to understand all where you're supposed to be. If I reverted all these moves that I did on this side into this circle, it will still stay within the defined spaces, right? Like if we look at a forward, let's say, where's the forward right now? He's here. It's right in his area, right here, right? If we look at a center mid, where is he right now? Center mid is here. Look, he's actually where he's supposed to be on this screen over here. You need to understand your positioning. I don't even need to play any special strategy. If you stayed in your position, there will be options for us to move as a team. The reason why you guys have been losing in the Culver League is because you vacate the middle. I've watched. I know exactly what you do. You forget where you are in relations to where the ball is and where your opponent is, and you run. You're chasing. And any other team that just stays disciplined and stays in their area, once they get the ball and they rotate it, you're out of position. Now, guess what? Last thing. Now, guess what? Let's say you bit and we're all in the position that we're supposed to be, right? We're all in the position that we're supposed to be. And the idea is if they have the ball in complete control, you should be behind the ball. Literally everyone is behind right wing, right defender. So this is here, this is here, this is here, this is here. You are behind the ball. What does that mean? Except for the forward, he doesn't have to be, but he can press. So let me take this line off. Being behind the ball literally means this. I draw a line to where the ball is. You're behind that line. You're on the defensive side of that line. If you're a center mid and you're up here, you're out of position. Do you understand? You have to have that. If we're playing a set pattern and you're going to play an EA team, Kai's team is playing an EA team at 8:30 tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but on Saturday. They are the top level for our age group. There is nobody higher than an EA team. I think MLS Next starts next year, the year after that. So they are the highest level. And their coach, the way he's talking to me, is a guy that's on point. And so I know they're going to play the same way just from that guy's personality, right? If we're not like this and guys are out of position, when you're out of position, guess what? Someone else has to do the work. Someone else has to shift. That means this guy's now free. This guy shifts. That guy's taking the space. You got to be disciplined and stay in your position behind the line of the ball. If you just stayed behind the line and you shift as a group, that team is not dangerous. Remember what I said when we were at the field. The point of defense is not to win the ball. That's secondary. The point of defense is to stop forward progression. Stop them from progressing into our danger area here, right? If we kept them here, they will never get here. You guys understand? I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to ask if you guys have any questions whatsoever, or if this is too much. If this is too much, I can back up. If not, this is how we play. Feel free to ask questions now. And if, yes, Landon.
So you're literally trying to make a wall so the other team can't like get to the goal, right?
Absolutely. Why teams have won World Cups like Italy by just playing defense. In every single game, no matter how hard or how good the other team is, you will have one or two opportunities. Always. Always. It'll be the most contentious game, one or two opportunities. And if you capitalize on that opportunity and you defend well, you win. You never lose if you defend well, right? You can't always win by defending, but you will never lose if you defend well. And that is more important. Unless we're a prolific goal scoring team where they score 2, we score 4, fine, attack. But we're not there yet, and we don't understand the concepts yet. Yes, James. James.
That's why you have to contain, right?
Yeah, that's why you contain. That's why when someone has the ball completely at their feet, you're not jabbing at them. You're just making sure. And as a small, so some of these teams are huge that I've seen at the Culver City. They're much bigger than our players. So let's say someone like you, Sebastian, since I'm seeing you, you're right in my line of sight right now, so I'll call you out. Sebastian, he's a smaller player than some of the players that play against him. If you stood in front of them and you just shadowed them like this, wherever they move, you move. And you're not winning the ball. You're just keeping them in front of them, keeping in front of them. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to slow down. They're going to pass the ball. Or if they try to take you and they're slowing the playground, other players on your team are moving into position to help you, right? Now, let's say in that same scenario, you dive in. You're on the ground because you dove and he had full control. Now he's beaten you, which is what we always want our teams to do. Once you beat someone, guess what? The formation of your defense breaks. They have to move to help you because you didn't do your job. Do you understand? If they move and we shift, and if we don't understand the shifting, that's why coach had you guys shadow, right? We shifted. I kicked the ball and I wanted to see you move. I wanted to see you move. That is the shadowing that needs to happen. Now, if the formation breaks, we'll work on that later. Who is covering? How do you move? You're not running both at the ball. The guy that's cutting it off cuts off to slow him down. The guy that got beat busts his butt to cover the space of the man that just left and covered you. So what is this? We are a team. We lose as a team and we win as a team. Nobody is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. So when your friend or your teammate and your family makes a mistake, you cover for them. You got it? Yes, Landon.
So the middle usually makes the team or the defense makes the team win.
Yeah, 100%. That's why when you play there, and that's why I'm super hard on you. Like if you've seen me yell at Landon for this, and it's not because the expectation is when you don't do your job, someone else is doing it for you. And if someone else is doing your job, that means they are doing their job and your job. You can't do that. That's why we always have the concept of having overloads. The more that's on our side, if we have 2 against 1, you're doing only 50% of the work. You understand the concept. If it's 1-on-1, you're doing 100% of the work. If it's 2-on-1, you're in a world of hurt because they have 200% and you only have yourself. So we want to be the one putting pressure on them. And this concept and the principle is hold the middle, stay compact, outnumber the other team. Those are the 3 principles that I want to talk about that you need to remember for today. Anybody else with a question? All right. I'll see everybody tomorrow. I'll share this with the people that couldn't attend. And if you have, and you're thinking through this, let me know. Ask me questions. That's why ask coaches, Coach Kai, Coach Greg, Coach Tony, like ask the question. I didn't fully understand that concept, or I remember in the game, I was in this situation. What should I have done? Right? This is why we're here. We want to increase this. The more you have here, the less you have to actually run, the less you actually have to work. The game is actually very simple. The game is very simple. It looks chaotic to you because you're new to it. But the reality is it's a very simple game. If you understand the patterns of the game, it's extremely simple. The decisions are already made for you. Lennon. Yes.
So control goal and score. That's literally what you have to do.
Yeah, I mean,
defense.
keep it that simple. I like that. Keep it that simple. What's the point of us on offense? To score. But how do we do it, right? And what's the point on defense? To stop them from scoring. If you have those thoughts in mind, if the other team has the ball, just think, how do I stop them from scoring? How do I help my team stop them from scoring? And if you're on offense, think about it simply like this. How do I help my team score? Being where I am. As a winger, take the flank. As the middle, look for the creative passes. Beat a player. When you dribble and beat a player, you're doing the same thing as a pass that's beating them. The only times you score is when you face their defenders towards the goal. If they're running towards the goal, you have a better chance of scoring. Look at all the goals they scored against us, right? We're running and we're chasing towards our own goal. Then you don't know where you are in relations to anything else. You're just scrambling. You're leaving spaces, right? But if we have the concept, hey, am I leaving spaces or am I filling spaces? Then you'll be in a better position.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Work on this, okay?
Thank you,
everyone for joining.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Daddy. Bye.
Hey, Sebastian.
Bye, guys.